Mrs. Kravitz is at it again. Who could forget the wonderfully nosy neighbor Gladys Kravitz from the magical 1960s sitcom Bewitched? But nosy doesn't accurately portray Gladys. I'd better attribute observant or detective, as she's not wrong, she just can't prove it. As in the suburb of Morning Glory Circle where they all live, the snoopy Gladys Kravitz suspects that there is something fishy about Samantha, but can never prove the weird circumstances she witnesses to her husband Abner Kravitz, played by George Tobias.
Abner, believe me, there was a strange lady driving their car.
There's only one strange lady around here, Gladys.
But we grew to love Gladys's manic shouts of Abner, and Tobias would perfectly volley with a deadpan look that killed. But sadly, Alice Pearce, who portrayed this vital piece of the bewitching puzzle, was sick and terribly wouldn't be around for the show's final 6 seasons. So let's learn a little more about the talented Alice Pearce. I'm your host, Nostalgic Nick, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up for us. It really helps a lot. And subscribe to our channel so you never miss a magical episode. Travel and injury. Alice Pearce was born in 1917 in New York City. Her father was a bank vice president and foreign banking specialist, which meant the family traveled a lot. Beginning when she was only 18 months old, little Alice was being exposed to different European cultures and being taught in different European schools, wherever Dad did business. The family lived in Brussels, Stockholm, and Paris. And then at the age of 9, she fell off a swing set and busted her face. This accident left her with an underdeveloped chin. Pearce said about the accident, quote, "One afternoon I was playing in a park, showing off on a swing. I think I was trying to impress some boys. I went way up, lost my grip, and slipped out of the swing. Her parents tried to find specialists and dentists to attempt to repair this, but there was no significant fix. So this childhood accident would have a lasting impact on Alice, but not all in a bad way. Her sharp and nearly chinless glares turned Alice into a character actress with the best of them, but we'll get there. First, her family returned to the US when she was a teenager. She attended the master's school in Dobbs Ferry, New York, then went to Sarah Lawrence College in New York, graduating in 1940 with a drama degree. Her parents were not exactly thrilled when she told them she was planning to study acting, but heck, she knew what she was doing. And then Alice began to gather experience in summer stock shows, just waiting for her big break. Early in her career, Alice was having trouble finding work, but luckily she turned to comedy to pay the bills and became a huge hit on the nightclub circuit. Then took a small step with a head-turning performance in the New Faces of 1943 showing. And 2 years later, she was cast in the original Broadway production of On the Town, which ran from 1944 to 46. And this was her big break, as Pearce was phenomenal in the role of Lucy Schmueller, the sexless blind date in the newest Broadway sensation. Gene Kelly was in the audience one evening and was so impressed by her choices that Kelly would remember this performance when he was transitioning the play into the MGM musical version in 1949. And Gene refused to cast anyone but Alice Pearce for the role, making her the only original cast member from the Broadway run to appear in the film as well.
2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate?
ABC loved Pearce's performance in the movie so much they hired her to host the Alice Pearce variety show on Friday nights in '49, but it was brief and apparently no footage survives. Too bad. Her next major role was in the Fred Astaire musical The Belle of New York in 1952, where she reunited with her On the Town co-star Vera Ellen. Then she got her first taste at being a neighbor, playing one on the short-lived Jean Carroll show in 1953. And at that same time, she was also portraying Annie Mokum on the series Jamie. Unfortunately, that show was canceled 2 episodes into season 2 because of a business dispute with the show's sponsor. That's bad business. In 1956, Alice was cast in the film The Opposite Sex, featuring a star-studded female cast, including Joan Collins and her first working opportunity with the future Endora, the lovely Agnes Moorehead. But before we leave the 50s, let's go back to the 40s. First marriage. Alice Pearce married John Rocks in 1948, a composer and songwriter whom she loved very much. Rocks wrote such hits as It's a Big, Wide, Wonderful World.
It's a big, wide,
wonderful world.
And was a big component to Alice's nightclub acts for such venues as the Blue Angel in New York. Tragically though, John Rocks died after the filming of The Opposite Sex in '56, and Alice Pearce was distraught with grief. She wouldn't return to the screen for nearly 2 years. Pearce is back. Upon her return to acting, she began landing bigger and better roles. She appeared in some hit TV shows like Dennis the Menace and the Twilight Zone's episode called Static, which was Hogan's Heroes Bob Crane's first television appearance.
And listen to that applause.
And for more on those comedic prisoners of war, we do have a great deep dive into that late 60s series too. In 1963, she was a part of 3 films, highlighted by the Doris Day James Garner romantic comedy The Thrill of It All. And then 1964 brought a new romantic interest for herself, Paul Davis, a photographer and stage manager. She met Paul back in 1957 when she was appearing in the Broadway musical Bells Are Ringing. Alice replaced All in the Family's Gene Stapleton in the show, and Paul was working as the stage manager. Well, the pair reconnected and were married in 1964. And while on honeymoon, Pearce's agent gave her hotel a call. Come on, give the girl a break. Well, he was about to, as he informed her that Elizabeth Montgomery and husband producer William Asher wanted to speak to her about their new show. And Alice was quite stunned and exclaimed something like, "Don't I need to audition?" As Montgomery replied that it wouldn't be necessary. But there was one catch. She would have to leave her honeymoon at that moment.
Yes.
So Alice turned to her husband and told him the news. And Paul Davis was thrilled for her opportunity. So the couple packed their bags. Now Alice Pearce was shining with her incredible facial expressions on one of the nation's most popular sitcoms, Bewitched, and her zany attributes that she had learned throughout her life truly came out as Gladys, and the nation quickly fell in love. Paul Davis was so proud of his wife, would drop her off at the filming studio and then drive to his work for a few hours before returning to have lunch with her. Their relationship was admired by those who saw the two in action, but sadly, Alice was keeping a terrible secret that indeed was a ticking time bomb. A tragic end. In May 1964, Alice Pearce was diagnosed with terminal ovarian cancer. She had to break this news to her castmates when she returned for the second season of the show. People had noticed she had lost a lot of weight, and Alice had known about the diagnosis before accepting the role of Gladys, but she couldn't turn down a starring role in a sitcom, something she'd always dreamed of. Pearce promised she'd stay on as long as she could, and her fellow castmates had to quickly transition from sadness to being her biggest cheerleaders. They ensured she was as comfortable as possible during the filming sessions. In all, Alice Pearce appeared in 27 episodes of Bewitched. She worked right up until 2 weeks of her tragic passing. She died on March 3rd, 1966 from complications due to her ovarian cancer. Pearce was just 48 years old. ABC broke into the primetime broadcast of Bewitched to announce her death, and Elizabeth Montgomery and William Asher helped Paul Davis after her passing by giving him a job as a director on Bewitched. Later that year, Alice Pearce was posthumously awarded the Emmy for Outstanding Performance in a Supporting Role in a Comedy. Her husband, Paul Davis, accepted the award on her behalf. Alice Pearce kept a journal throughout her journey with cancer. She talked about what was happening to her body, her thoughts, daily quotes, and much more. She asked her husband to give it to doctors or someone else who was in a similar situation. In her final days on this earth, Alice Pearce was thinking of others, on how to help someone else going through the unthinkable. Alice Pearce was a gift to the entertainment world. In her final years, as she knew of her diagnosis, she also got the chance to act in some larger motion pictures. I'll mention 3 briefly. 1964 brought Kiss Me Stupid starring Dean Martin, as well as The Disorderly Orderly, where Alice brilliantly played the hypochondriac patient while an overly attentive Jerry Lewis suffered through his projected sympathy pains.
Now, when the leaking bile mixes with the stomach acid, oh, it's murder!
Then 1966, she was part of a truly star-studded cast, The Glass Bottom Boat, alongside such visionaries as Doris Day, Paul Lynde, and Dom DeLuise. So, have you seen any of these 60s flicks? What was your favorite role that Alice Pearce had? And please give me a great Gladys Kravitz memory in the comments below, and let's all remember Alice Pearce together. If you enjoyed our deep dive today, please click that thumbs up icon for us, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a memory. From all of us here at Do You Remember, thank you for watching.